Okay, now let's watch it again with sound design. Better, huh? What is sound design? I was looking for a straightforward definition of sound design, but it was best to show you how and why it's crucial. As you've just witnessed, sound design is the art of creating a remarkable world of sounds around your film to make it more exciting, compelling, and fun to watch. In that short sequence, you've heard sounds that I, as the character, could hear, such as the wind. Then you've heard other sounds that you, as the audience, could hear. But my character couldn't, like the music, piano rolls, and dramatic effects. In filmmaking, there are two kinds of sounds: diegetic and non-diegetic sounds. Diegetic sounds originate in the film reality and can be heard by the audience and the characters, such as steps, wind, a door shutting, and a ball bouncing. Non-diegetic sounds can only be heard by the audience, not the film characters. These can be soundtracks, spooky transitions, voiceover narrations, sounds for dramatic effects, all sounds that don't belong to the film internal reality. If you've ever assisted a medium or big-size film production, you've probably seen dedicated audio guys to record dialogues and environmental sounds. But we, independent filmmakers, I mean me and you, don't have that budget. If you want the audience to hear the steps and wind sounds, but we haven't had the chance or the means to record these during our shooting sessions, we need a few workarounds to add diegetic sounds after we have shot a scene. Where can you get sounds from? Sound libraries. It's up to you and your budget to decide whether you want to pay a subscription for your music and sounds, or if you'd rather get them for free. There are many free sound design and music library sources. Just Google royalty-free music and royalty-free sounds. You can even use YouTube for sound effects. If you need the sound of a woman crying, search woman crying sound effect and pick the one you like the most. I record most of the sounds I need by myself. In this scene, from my latest short film, The Apology, Lena's crying in the bedroom. I could have gotten away with downloading some quality library sound, but I decided to have her dub herself. We used a quality mic, but even a phone would have been good enough. I laid a blanket on my desk, put a sound blanket behind Lena, and got a great sounding crying and extra realism in my production value. Most of my sound design though comes from subscription services. I find it faster to work that way. I use 3 libraries for my sound needs. Artlist.io, where I get 99% of excellent quality music played by real passionate artists that I always credit in my films. I use Envato elements for all the sound effects that I can be bothered to record, like this ball bouncing sound, steps, wind, etc. Occasionally I use Licked, which allows you to use music from Justin Bieber, Coldplay, Drake, Bruno Mars, and hundreds of A-list artists in your YouTube videos. None of these services are sponsoring this video, although they should. So if you're watching this video, get in touch. The Sound of Silence. The Sound of Silence is a song, I believe, from some unknown band that none of you millennials have ever heard of. I'm kidding, I'm also a millennial, so... In films, silence is completely unnatural, like this. Let's now make it a little less awkward by adding some ambient sounds. That was probably not appropriate for the situation. Let's try another one. That's better, because I'm indoors and my windows are shut. I may want to treat this ambient sound to make it more natural. I will use a filter to cut the higher frequencies to simulate the authentic sound you would get in this situation. Of course, if something happens, like someone decides to open the window, I want those high frequencies back. You get the point. Your scenes should never be silent, unless it's a deliberate choice. For example, a sci-fi film and your character is in space. A character is actually deaf, and you want the audience to experience their reality. Timing is everything. Let's watch this sequence from The Apology, where Sveva takes me to a parallel dimension to show me how she died. I needed the sound of a basketball bouncing to enhance this scene, and I found a pretty good one. If I hadn't timed each bounce at the exact frame in which the ball hit the pavement, it would have been fake like this. You would immediately spot that something isn't right and be taken out of the moment, realizing you're watching a film, a bad one at that. The same would have been with these steps. When working with sound design, timing is everything. Any synchronization mistake you make with your sounds will immediately ruin your audience's experience. They'll stop watching the film and say it was awful. This is how vital sound design is. This is the end, my friend. Guys, this is it. You just watched the last episode of this course, and I hope you all embrace the challenge of producing your first short film. Even if you have yet to gain filmmaking experience, I did the same thing a few years ago when I didn't even know how to turn my camera on. I wish I had this information when I shot The Boy, although it was so much fun. Now is your turn to tell your story. Have fun, and put your name in the credits as the author, director, and actor. Let me know in the comments below if you need any of my help, or if you have feedback, advice, or just to share your creations. I can't wait to see what you make. And remember, if you don't tell your story, nobody else will. And even if they did, it'll never be as good as you telling your own story.